afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session of Engagement Strategies to Help Students Bloom. This is the Flip the Script, how to use Flipgrid in the content areas. My name is Dana Rubenstein from the Educational Technology Department, and I am joined by a wonderful group of lovely ladies who are about to introduce themselves. Go ahead and take it away, Miss Tara.
Tara's not here this afternoon. I'm representing the secondary ELA department. My name is Carrie Emery. I work with grades 6 through 12, ELA and reading, and I'm an instructional specialist.
And I'm back again, Jessica Zunker, aka JZ, for the K-12 Science Instructional Specialist.
And I'm Colleen Carney. I'm in here for Lori Jewell. I'm the Avid Instructional Specialist, but today represent Social Studies.
And last but not least, this is Karina Moran. I'm a KA Math Resource Teacher.
So what is Flipgrid? Flipgrid is a communication application that can be used in your classroom to help engagement. It is an asynchronous tool that empowers every student's voice to find that authentic voice in your classroom. It is very easy to use. It is free. It is simple. It empowers every student, every learner. It includes emojis. They can ink. They can use this within any platform within your classroom, any content area. And today you're going to hear from our wonderful leaders within math, science, ELA, social studies, and yes, and they are going to be showing you many integration ideas. And remember, these ideas are cross-curricular. We're going to be focusing on integration ideas that can be used in any subject area, and just make sure that they are relevant to what you're using in your classroom. As we think about Flipgrid, remember that the Flipgrid can help students make their thinking and learning visible. It is student friendly, and our students are so used to social media and having everything at their fingertips, and Flipgrid helps them do that. Students and teachers can collect their evidence of learning within this platform. It helps them be creative, and it's relatable to our digital natives, to these students who are used to doing this on a daily basis. It also brings forth that speaking and listening standards, and most especially the 4 C's: critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication. And teachers, you can moderate responses before any classmates view anything on Flipgrid. So you have that full capability within the Flipgrid platform. So let's take a look at the student domains, because this is really, really important. Now, I had mentioned how today we're focusing on the integration ideas. And if you're not familiar with how to get started with Flipgrid, we do have a video embedded on this slide deck. And this slide deck, along with this recorded live stream, will be available on our website. And I'm going to give you that website at the end of our presentation. So you can certainly watch that at your leisure to help you get started. But most importantly, when you're making your group, in order for your students to have access to your group, you need to add the student domain. So make sure to add the stu.palmbeachschools.org along with palmbeachschools.org for you teachers. If you are from a charter school, make sure you add your charter school domain as well. And teachers, when you're logging in, make sure to use your Google login with your district email, your district credentials, and that will get you into Flipgrid, which again is a free resource. So very important to get those credentials in. And we have lots of suggestions for you. These are only ideas to get that spark going to help you flip over Flipgrid. And team, I'd like to invite you back so that we can talk about some of these ideas and get those. Thank you. So thinking about how Flipgrid can be used for ELA and social studies and science and math, let's talk about some of these suggestions just to start the conversation. So who would like to kick it off?
I'll take it. Flipgrid can be integrated in ELA very easily in a number of different ways. You see the list there on your screen. I will share with you 4 specific ideas. But Flipgrid can be easily integrated to support your reading standards, your writing standards, as well as listening and speaking standards. And it's so much fun for our students. Can't wait to get started.
Carrie and I would agree in social studies, the same thing with the connections to the standards, but it's another opportunity to provide a safe space for students to have the opportunity to discuss current events, things that they're seeing happen historically now, and it can also make connections to what's happening in our current day, to things of the past, but they would have that safe space to have a voice that maybe isn't integrated into your day-to-day instructional time, but that in this asynchronous act that you have that opportunity to still have that student voice.
And, you know, in science, what better way to go out and experience the natural world than to use Flipgrid platform and be able to capture video of the natural environment. So not only can you use it in your classroom, but you can use it for science nights, for your science fair, anything STEAM related, STEM related. And it's just a great way to get the kids to interact within a platform that is very indicative of what they're used to every single day when there are social media platforms that they're using on their own.
And last but not least, for math, we need to mathematize our world. So with kids are able to use Flipgrid, they're able to take a picture, a video, talk about the math that they're noticing around them, because that is how we have the opportunity to make math come to real life every day. So explaining your thinking is one of our standards. Being a person who's able to critique the reasoning of others is one of mathematical strategies that we have to use, and Flipgrid is the perfect tool to do it.
Thank you, ladies. Those were such amazing ideas, and I know that all the teachers watching are going to take those ideas and definitely integrate some of them. So in addition to those curriculum ideas, Flipgrid can also be used beyond just for teaching and learning. Flipgrid can be used for family activities and within your school for staff and PLCs, and from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade for lots of different activities. If you are an art teacher, a music teacher, an electives teacher, so many different things. So this list is just a broad list of ideas that can help just spark some ideas of how Flipgrid can be integrated into many different facets of the educational setting. Group, do you have anything to add to this list just to help our viewers, again, just to get those juices flowing about how Flipgrid can help engage some of our learners and even adults in our school setting?
Well, I'll just point out, I mentioned it this morning, and Dana, you couldn't be more right when saying, don't forget about your staff and your school-based team. If you're one of those go-getters at your school and you do professional development at the school-based level, this is a great platform to get your teacher's foot wet into utilizing it. You can pull up an example Flipgrid and have them actually go through it and experience it. And it's a great way to get them acclimated to it to where they're going to want to use it in their classroom. So don't forget about your colleagues as well as the students.
I like to add that for sure we want to involve our families. And I know that being a child from another country, bringing my stories and teaching my parents how we do things now here in the United States, by having them the opportunity to maybe record a video and showing how things were done in other countries, brings them in that community. So that's also important.
Those are terrific suggestions. Thank you. And some of the ideas on this list are excellent as well. So again, viewers, feel free to take these ideas and just come up with your own in addition to what's offered here. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get started with some of our curriculum integration. And we're going to kick it off with ELA and Carrie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm excited to walk you through 4 examples of how Flipgrid can be used as an effective learning tool to deliver standards-aligned instruction in middle and high school ELA classes. These Flipgrids highlight creative ways secondary ELA teachers can leverage this tool to engage students in before, during, and after reading strategies. Flipgrids are a great tool to use in ELA because many of the reading strategies that teachers are already using in the traditional sense can easily be made into Flipgrids for independent response, for collaborative response, for collaborative conversations, and as a collaborative project, such as a performance task. Our first example, Flipgrid can be used as an independent response. This example uses the SNAP strategy, along with our standards-based question stems. So after reading a chunk of literary or informational text, the student will snap, which means to stop now and process. And that's so that they can stop now and process what they've read by answering a couple of questions. We use the standards-based question stems located on Blender to create this particular assignment. The Flipgrids can be used to address our literary and our informational reading standards. Flipgrid can also be used as a collaborative response. This example uses an after reading strategy, or in this case, viewing, because students are, after they've viewed a brief video on the Great Depression, they create a 1 to 2 minute objective summary to identify the central idea. And our students prepare by using sentence frames and the 1 sentence summary strategy. Then our students listen to and replay the response to at least 2 classmates. Students use the feedback from their classmates to help clarify their understanding. This Flipgrid can be used to address the key ideas and details or integration of knowledge standards for informational or literary text. Flipgrid can also be used as a collaborative conversation. This example uses an after reading strategy known as Say, Mean, Matter. After reading a Newsella article about procrastination and homework, students use the Say, Mean, Matter strategy to elaborate on the author's purpose. Students prepare for the class conversation by carefully focusing on what the text says, reflecting on what that means, and considering why it matters. This Flipgrid can be used to address the speaking and listening as well as writing standards. And finally, Flipgrid can be used as a collaborative project. This example uses a multimedia PSA performance task. So at the end of the unit of instruction on national disasters, students create a 3 to 5 minute multimedia public service announcement with a partner to address how to prepare for a natural disaster. This Flipgrid can be used to address the speaking and listening as well as writing standards. Now I'm going to hand it over to Colleen, who will demonstrate how to use Flipgrid in social studies. But stay tuned because these great strategies can be used in ELA as well.
Thanks, Carrie. And just as you said, these are best practices, best strategies that can be used across the board. Carrie focused a lot on reading text. In social studies, when we read text, we often then use the political cartoons to really help students get a visual of a complex issue. So my first example of using Flipgrid is using those political cartoons. The one on the screen here breaks down the political parties, and then we divided that cartoon into 3 sections, where the students then get the option to go into Flipgrid and choose one of the 3 boxes, and then describe the symbols they see and the meanings and what they really represent. And then you can have the students then elaborate why did they choose that one in that political cartoon. But as Carrie said, this is just a best practice. So whether we're using political cartoons in social studies or any image, using Flipgrid to have students explain their thinking to you helps make it visual for them. My next example is using the best practice of clashing viewpoints. For this example, we're looking at the Federalists versus the Anti-Federalists. Just as Carrie did with ELA, this one provides sentence stems and frames to support students' thinking and speaking. What's really great in Flipgrid is that they have the opportunity for some of that rehearsal revision. They can practice their response before posting multiple times. So it's not, uh-oh, I messed up. They have that opportunity for some rehearsal revision, but using those sentence starters to really support their thinking. So in this clashing viewpoints, we ask the students to really put themselves in history as the Federalist, and they're trying to then persuade a friend by using these conversational starters to support their stance on why the Federalists are right versus the Anti-Federalist. And then we also encourage then that you have the students respond to one another. As Dana mentioned, you can preview them before you post them, and then encourage students to watch others, because as we hear additional viewpoints, we continue to learn. And then my third and final example here is what makes me think how we're turning Flipgrid more into like TikTok. This is that total physical response. This is visual vocabulary. When you're providing them with some of those key terms from your unit, then you can have the students to create a video kind of acting out or representing those different vocabulary words. We know that when we use total physical response, this is how students not only recall the vocabulary, but then they're able to apply that vocabulary. So using their movement or a picture that symbolizes that vocabulary and then explaining the meaning. And this will help students retain that information and be able to apply it in the future. Now I'm going to pass it over to Jessica for some secondary science, where she brings a little bit more of that independent student response and then some more collaborative response. Take it away, Jessica.
Thanks, Colleen. So in secondary science, Flipgrid is a great way to get students involved in the natural world. So right here, we have an example of an independent response where a teacher is going to put up a prompt and the student needs to comment and record a video or upload some kind of product. So this is great because this is really motivating students to speak. And like my colleagues have said, you can review it. They can add screens on there, different stickers, different backgrounds. So it's really indicative, like we've been saying, of their social media platforms, which they love to utilize. So in this one, the student has to describe the macromolecules. This would be for a biology student. And again, if they are unsure, this gives them multiple times to come up with their answer before they submit. And it's really easy for a teacher to assess that student's understanding. The second type of response is collaborative. So in this one, and this can be utilized in bio and within our middle school grades, is cell structure. So again, the students are going to work together in this example to explain the different organelles of the cell and how it can relate to a city or a school. So this is a great way for the students to have self-assessment because they can learn from each other. If I'm a striving student and I'm not sure what exactly I want to say, I can build upon my peers and come up with a complete answer that I can then post and be satisfied with. So, and it's a great way for students to also reflect on other students' posts. And then our third type of response would be our conversational response. And again, this is for plate tectonics. This would be a middle school content. But this I love because what you can get the students to do is respond to this prompt, but they can work together as a team and they would be recording themselves demonstrating the movements of plate tectonics. So you could easily assign each student a type of movement and they would have to perform that for you on the Flipgrid. Now, again, other students can comment on this, critique, give assessment, and it's just a quick way that you can visually understand what your students are trying to convey. And this is great, again, for ELLs and ESE and our striving students who are maybe not as great with writing. And this can help build those writing skills because they're going to build their fluency from hearing from others. And now I'm going to kick it off to math.
Thank you, JC. So for math, we're going to talk about independent responses, collaborative responses, and conversational responses, like my colleagues have said. And just remember, we keep saying it. This is all about sharing ideas, and maybe it will spark an idea for you to use it in your content area. So for math and geometry, I just took a picture of a worksheet and then put it up on Flipgrid so that students will have to tell me the perimeter of the area, and tell me what two things around their house might have a perimeter area, like the kite that I gave them. Or perhaps in geometry, if we're doing transformations in real life, students will have to find 3 examples of objects that have undergone a series of geometric transformations in their real life. Again, mathematizing the world. Here for probability, we are thinking about the difference between experimental and theoretical probability. So if students have some dice at home or they have a spinner, they can come up with their own experiment and actually create a table that shows what's the probability around you. What is it that happened? So that they can really understand what's the concept behind an answer that they get. We also have proportions. If you have not seen Would You Rather Math, it's something you really have to go see because there's a lot of prompts. Like for this one. This one says, would you rather have a pool that is 20 meters by 8 meters by 6 meters or 1,550 centimeters by 650 centimeters by 725 centimeters? So students will have to really think about, am I thinking of the area, the volume, the surface area, and why would I choose it? So that's the great thing about Would You Rather Math. Here's another one. Would you rather make $50,000 per year when everyone around you make $25,000 per year? Or make $100,000 per year when everyone around you makes $200,000 per year? The great thing about these prompts is that it really gets students talking and justifying, really practicing mathematical practice 3, critique the reasoning of others. So now I'm going to share a little bit about Shorts. Shorts is something that's available on Flipgrid. You have the ability to screen record, to have lesson directions, and you can always use it for modeling. So let me go to Flipgrid and show you something about Shorts and something else about what's really awesome about Flipgrid. So I already have Flipgrid, and I am a teacher that works with Google. So I'm going to use my Google credentials, and here I am. I happen to have a lot of groups, and the really cool thing is that today you are getting this group. And when I click on it, you can see that all of the things that we've been sharing with you have been added. These are all topics that are ready to go. All you need to do, if you don't have your own Flipgrid, is to sign up, do the steps that we had at the beginning of our session, and then come here, go to Actions, duplicate the topic, and when you duplicate it, you're taking that topic and adding it to your group. Obviously, the group that you will have would be the groups that you have made for your class. Perhaps it's a different period, or maybe if you're teaching secondary science, one period is biology and another period is chemistry. That's the way that you will have your groups. So that is a great thing that you are getting today. On top of that, I wanted to share with you about Shorts. So Shorts is an ability to record your screen or to record a message. So I already have some Shorts created, and I'm just going to walk you through it really quickly. All you have to do is push record a short. Now you have some choices to make. Right here, I can see myself, but under options, I can click and see that I can upload a clip. I can just use the microphone if I want to share just the screen. I can mirror the video. I can mute myself if I just want to make a video where something is happening, or I can record my screen. I'm going to choose this time to record my screen. So there it goes. It says start recording. I'm going to have to choose the screen just like we have to do a lot of times in Google Meet. So when I choose the screen, it would actually show what I'm doing, what I'm working on. And when I finish recording the message, all I have to do is go back to my Shorts and stop recording. As you can see, it continues to play until you tell it to stop. You can add another video to it if that's what you would like, or you can just push next. Now you can add a description to the video to make a short. Perhaps I can edit the video if I need to, but I can also say confirm. Within about a couple seconds, I have a video that's ready to go. What's really, really cool is that I can copy the link and drop it in my Google Chat or something else like a Google Classroom, or just like it says down here, I can share it with a QR code or put it straight to my Google Classroom. So that's the way to really get some way to share your thinking with your students if you are able to use Flipgrid. Something else, just to let you know, when you are in Flipgrid, I'm going to close this up. You also have these great things at the top that give you the opportunity to discover other topics. And mixtapes is something that you can use once you have student responses. So that's a whole lot about Flipgrid. Let me get back to our presentation. And if anyone else has something to share, let us know. Team, what's up?
Well, that would be the QR code to access the activities that you've just pointed out, and we've all put the activities in there for each content area. So you can quickly go and grab them, utilize them in your classroom starting Monday if you want to. Or don't forget the Discover, where you can search other ideas from other educators. And before you utilize those, you want to make sure to vet them. Make sure that the content within that Flipgrid post is something that you can utilize in your classroom for your students.
Absolutely. And something else to mention is that Flipgrid is always adding new content. So for example, for Black History Month, for Women's History Month, for Earth Day, for any content that is coming up, they're always going to be sharing information and lessons and something that's relevant to what's going on in your classroom. So look for that. Flipgrid also offers free virtual field trips. So keep your eyes open, and you can subscribe to their newsletters, and the emails will come right to your inbox with all of that information that's new and relevant that you can just use in your classroom at any moment. So they have unbelievable resources, and it is truly an application that you will want to use on a regular basis to help your students engage and bloom. Anything else, ladies, to add?
I just hope people take the opportunity and flip the script. I know that it's the end of the year, and some of us might be a little bit tired of doing the same kind of responses or the same kind of work. So this is the best time to try something new. Give Flipgrid a try.
And thinking of the end of the year almost like a virtual yearbook where students can maybe say their end of the year messages to their classmates and something like that. I mean, thinking of a new innovative approach to ending the school year. So flipping things upside down, right?
Definitely.
So on that note, we want to thank you for joining us. And if you could go to the next slide, Karina, we have the link for where all of the resources are available. It is at bit.ly/studentsbloom. So this recorded session, along with the presentation, will be available for you to access, and you will have everything with the links for you to go back and watch and press pause and go through and watch again and again and again, along with that video embedded so that you can watch slowly and learn how to use Flipgrid if you're not familiar with it. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are so happy that you were part of this session. And everyone, would you like to add to that?
Just telling everyone, keep on trying to flip.
Great presentation by my colleagues, and I love the cross curriculum here. If you have any questions, how to use this in your secondary science classroom, feel free to reach out to our program planner, Jennifer Davis. Feel free to contact me or any of my colleagues. My Twitter is @JZ_science, and we're happy to help you utilize this in your lessons at any time.
Excellent. And we have 2 exciting events planned. So the first one is coming up very soon for National Poetry Month. It is actually in 1 week, next Friday on April 23rd. So teachers, plan this for 1:45 p.m. It is featuring Brian Turner, presented by the Palm Beach Poetry Festival in celebration of National Poetry Month. And more information will be forthcoming with the link. But we want you to just add this to your lesson plans because it is an event for all secondary classrooms so that students can join. And it is going to be a wonderful thing for students to join. And it'll be very exciting. And now that Amanda, what is her last name? Amanda, oh my gosh. Trent, what is her last name? The wonderful young woman that spoke at the inauguration.
Corwin?
Yeah, Gorman.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. So Amanda Gorman, who the wonderful young woman that spoke at the inauguration, has inspired so many people. And she is a poet and is unbelievable. And students across the country are familiar with her. And I cannot believe I just went blank with her name. I apologize. But with her on everyone's mind, now with National Poetry Event, she has inspired all of us. And this event will be something that we should all be watching. So again, April 23rd. And then the next great thing coming up is that we are proud to announce that we have a date for the next technology conference, October 15th. 2021. Yay! So we have a theme. It is Fast Forward, a decade of change in a year. And wow, it has certainly been a year. The conference will be virtual. We have partnered with VFairs, which is an unbelievable platform for a virtual conference. It is probably the best virtual conference that you can have. And we have a lot of details that will be forthcoming as it comes closer. But for now, go ahead and save the date. Again, October 15th, 2021. So we hope to see you at both of those events and have a phenomenal day and hope to see you at the next session. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.